You have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium, numerologist, healer, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there is always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Psychic Hour interview series. I'm Kelly Brickle, and we have the awesome Todd Bates in the house today, and he is an author, a paranormal researcher, with just over 20 years of background within this work. So get ready to pick his brain. He specializes in EVP documentation and research, and that's kind of like one of his passions. And he really helps to encourage people to have an authentic experience with how they go about with their own research. So I love to talk to him. And as well, and this will factor in with the topic of the day. So Todd, as you know, was the owner of WLTKDB, and he, with all his many talents and skills and knowledge, helped me launch Sacred Spiral Network. So this is really a labor of love with teamwork. And Todd is a huge component of that. Like, he's taught me everything that I continue to know with building and helping support others, like from the website to the format to, you see all the little things like the logos. That's all Todd, because he's so just knowledgeable with technology and radio and broadcasting. So the topic of the day, and hello everybody coming on in. Hello, Jessica. The topic of the day is about teamwork. And we all have teamwork in a way from when we are born, even if we don't conceptualize it as that, because we are born into a world where we have to have family. Whether it's a family that has good teamwork or not so great teamwork, we all are in the culture to like be a community. Again, we don't know how that community is going to go, and some of us have really good connections to our community from birth, and others just, we have severed connections because that wasn't the community for us. And so we're always growing, and whether it's a full-fledged community, and I really feel that Sacred Spiral Network is a community that we're all building together about sharing and connecting and being authentic with how we connect to metaphysics and spirituality and supporting one another. It really started from teamwork. You just need one person or two people to believe in you and to help group up with you to go, let's build this, let's do this. Because a lot of things we can build on our own. Yes, we can. We can always build things on our own, but we build really wonderful things and grand things when we're there with other people. So it's a testament. Like I said, I am not the only one putting together this wonderful network. It's very much Todd, and it's very much other people who are starting to come on board with the new shows. We'll be debuting a new show in March, and also increased help that we are getting behind the scenes. So this is really going to grow, month by month and connection by connection. And so thank you again for everybody coming on in and supporting. So hello, Tim. Hello, Angela. Teamwork makes the dream work, as they say. That is a very familiar saying, but it really does. Like, we need different talents and different skills. Like, I am a psychic medium numerologist. I do love communications. I do love artistic, fun visuals and presenting. So I do have super fun times with creating banners or show themes. I really do. But like the technology end, it's not my department. Maybe you think that I know a lot about technology because, I'm helping to put this together, but I've been learning, believe me. So whether you're taking on new skills or you're going to need new skills for the journey, you need teamwork. You need someone to say, hey, like, let me lend you my side of things. Let me lend you my skills so you can round out who you are as a person or relax as a person. I do think that's the biggest thing. So I always will toot Todd's horn because he helps me relax in so many categories with what I'm evolving, with what I'm becoming. When I first did the radio show on his station, when I launched the psychic hour, and then when I started doing the numerology hour and things like that, originally I could just sit back and relax. And I know that Todd had it taken care of. And I could just let my gift come forth. And that gave me tremendous peace every week that I could just show up and just go, okay, let's do it. Okay, everything else has been taken care of by spirit, by, the station. And it gave me the invitation to really open up and be more of myself. It really, really, really did. And that's what I'm trying to continue. And that's what Todd is helping me continue to do on Sacred Spiral Network. Whether people have had a show before or never had a show in their life, but they do have the commitment and passion to show up every week and share with others a specific skill set they have or a specific passion they want to share about and talk about within everything that they've learned. I think that it's so, so special if you can just show up and share and not have to be responsible for 500 different things you have to learn along the way. All of us, we've learned about social media. We've had to, like, everybody joining us is on social media right now. They're on Facebook, they're on LinkedIn, they're on, like, maybe we have some Twitter people. I call Twitter the ghost lands. You never know. But we have people in so many different categories on with us right now. And it's because that we are becoming more of a technology-based society, and we have been for a very long time. So with that, things are always changing. So you got people to help guide you as things change. If you want to continue to grow your platform, if you want to continue to share, and that's the teamwork about it. I really wanted to launch the Psychic Hour again with the Sacred Spiral acknowledgement of everything that has been done behind the scenes. So with that said, I want to go into introducing Todd and reiterating why he's so awesome and amazing. With that said, I'm going to bring him on in. All right, here we go. Hey, Todd.
How you doing, Kelly?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I want to introduce you for everybody who is coming on in and learning. Let's see here. Here we go. Speaking of technology, we have things jumping around. All right, Todd, we do. And we just got to go with it. Todd is the founder and host of Haunted Voices. Right now, airing every week on Tuesday nights with fabulous guests and interviews and conversation. He's also the narrator for the show Ghost Finders and author of the book The Haunted Voice. He's passionate about all things EVP and the paranormal with over 22 years plus in the field. Collecting specialized evidence of paranormal origin and sharing it with its amazing audiences is a life's calling. After years of personally investigating the mysteries of EVP and studying under the pioneering figures in the field, such as Sarah Estep and Jason Snider, he decided to share his passion with others. Now in its 20th year, Haunted Voices has grown to be one of the oldest paranormal talk shows on the internet today. That said, welcome Todd Bates. Hello.
Wow. Thank you, Kelly.
Absolutely. I mean, you got a career with, like I said, broadcasting communications, and then with the paranormal crossover, you got the golden voice. You've been doing it.
Thank you so much. It's been a life passion. I mean it, and believe it or not, I used to be completely skeptical about all of this. except UFOs. I always believed on life, life on other planets and things. And then Jason Snider got me turned into the paranormal. I just went on a little tour and was completely sucked in to the excitement, the adrenaline. You've got the crowds over here. What do? I run straight past them and go to an old barn and sit there and capture my first EVP was in a barn of a horse. And I have been hooked ever since. And, the two passions, radio's always been a passion of mine. So I had to learn more about it. I had to go to school. I had to reach more people to teach them these lessons and things I was offering years ago. It has been such a long time. I didn't realize 22 plus years.
It's like
I
a
feel so
flashback.
old, Kelly.
That's good though. Are you that means you've been purposeful and fruitful.
Yeah, and it goes by so fast. And I've seen so many changes, so many, how to explain it? So many changes, yet the community's been the same. There hasn't been any major developments or anything, except, there is something new coming on here. And on my, they'll be on my show, I believe the end of March, Staticom with Tony Rathman, Ron. It's a new kind of communication, which we'll get into. Instrumental trans communication. There's so many different ways, but one thing I wanted to talk about with you, and one thing I'm passionate about, is psychic mediumship and the importance of it during investigations. And I want to stress how important it is, because I've been out in the field just numerous times, and I have to rely on equipment, recording equipment, other things like that, to where a psychic medium like yourself can pick up on the things around. Your intuition is much stronger than the equipment. What I don't understand is why so many researchers miss out on that opportunity to double check their work or validate their work. If I'm sitting there, let's say I'm doing a small recording session, a 5-minute recording session or something, and I'm asking some questions, I get nothing in return until I play that tape back or recording back. And hopefully something is there. But if you were in the same room, the same area, you may pick up on those answers, and the answers you pick up on probably won't get captured on a recorder, but they would validate. And I don't know why researchers don't use that more.
Yeah,
And
it all goes
it's
together.
frustrating.
It all goes together, and we were talking about teamwork, and sometimes there isn't that teamwork, and people just go, all right, we got the equipment, let's just sit back and let the equipment work, and they're not using what they have live and in the present moment. And I think that, yeah, like everybody's abilities should go together, and it's not just let's just use what's easiest. We want the simple stuff. We just want a reading of a lot of times what machines will pick up, but you don't know if it's the electrical, you don't know if it's like some inconsistency or anomaly. When you have people live and present, I do think you get more interesting information.
I agree.
That's what I see. I don't know. How about
I
you?
agree. I mean, a researcher is going to go with their gut on a location. They're going to go with their gut on what equipment to use. They're going to go with their gut on what to ask. Why not go with your gut and use a psychic medium to help get you through those tough times, those unanswered questions, so to speak? Because all of those questions may have been answered. You just can't hear them, sense them, what have you. Because I've claimed this for years, Kelly, that I'm as sensitive as a brick, but I do go with my gut.
you're more porous with your what you pick up. A brick is
I,
actually strange for porous, actually. So just
I do go with my gut a lot. And I've also used mediums, and it's night and day. The experience is night and day. There's less stress when a medium is involved because that particular instance where I used a medium, that spirit needed help to get out. They were trapped. They were stuck. They didn't know what to do. They were confused. And they're not going to sit there and talk to a box. They
yeah.
want help. They want answers themselves. And a medium can do that and maybe help the client or wherever you're at, help that spirit first and foremost cross or leave, or, it's just, it's
I
more, I understand that researchers want to be scientific. I get it. They want answers. They want to lock down these mysteries. They want something tangible. But in my opinion, Kelly, we're not going to find out. I don't think, not in our lifetime anyway. I don't think we're going to know if there's something after. So we need everything we can get right now to solve some of those mysteries because
I
it's human curiosity.
I think that um, from a scientific sense, it's very hard to prove some of these things on a certain level. There are some things coming into the forefront where they're proving that psychic mediumship is scientifically backed. They're trying
Mhm.
to create sometimes a little bit better methods because in certain isolated areas, they're like, oh, yes, with this method, we can dictate that absolutely there's consistency with people connecting. Now they're learning how to scan that for people in general because everyone has such different ways of tuning in, but that for sure is happening. And it's really going to be interesting where they can take that to the paranormal and how people are actually present with the loved ones or
Mhm.
the spirits that are in the house. I will say this. So Todd, this is something that I found really interesting. So just until recently, and it's not my strong suit. Paranormal investigations is something that I came into just through vicinity of your station and a lot of people who were involved within that, or just hearing your own stories. And I remember you would tell me some stories, and I could see with visualization of kind of what happened on that site. And you're telling me a story from, I don't know, 8 years ago, and you were able to say hey, yes, that happened, and we were able to kind of talk and tune in together about that energy from so long ago, and it actually taught me stuff even though that was in the past and I wasn't on location with you. So it opened my eyes to what's possible with psychic mediumship. And I do think a lot of psychic mediums need more chances and opportunities to
Yes,
experience this to grow, and that's not happening enough.
it's not. It's not. And I think, excuse me, I think the community is afraid. I think there's a lot of fear of ridicule. There's a lot of fear of bullying. You have a lot of that in the field. There's a lot of great people that have left this field because of ridicule, because of the direction it's going, because of using psychics in scientific investigations. Some researchers do not agree with that. And I think, me personally, I think it's time for change, big change, because what we're doing now doesn't seem to be working. So if we try other things like that, it may increase our chances of finding out some of these answers. The teamwork aspect. So many people are solo and they're
Mm,
not working as a team. They're not working as a community. They're worried about, well, if I do that, I'm going to lose all my followers. Well, you may figure out some answer. They're worried about followers, film crews, all this fun stuff. That's where the community is headed. And that's not what I signed up for. You know, when I first came into the community, it was beautiful. It was people sharing. It was mediums and investigators working together to figure out some of these mysteries. And it just seems to have been clogged over the years with followers, with likes, with social media explosions, with television shows. And it's taking away from why we're here. We're here to discover the mysteries of life after death. Is there something after that? That's at the end of the day, that's the main goal. And when you have researchers, good researchers, veteran researchers that are now sitting back and waiting for change, which a lot of people in the community will. I'm one of them. I will sit back and wait for change. I know what's going to happen again. And then you have the psychic media. See, everything is separated. And that's one thing I've noticed as well, all these years, was coming in here first. The UFO community would work with the ghost community, would work with the mediumship community, would work with all these different communities, the cryptid community. Now they're so separated, it's hard to get everybody back together. We just all need to focus on that common goal again, like we used to. And we just may screw up and learn something about the other side
Yes,
instead
I
of
believe
worrying about how many people we have coming after us, or, hey, is this TV show going to pick us up? Let's not worry about that. If that's going to happen, it's going to happen whether you want it to or not. You know,
it's true. It's true. It's
let it
like a
happen.
lot of it is being overthought, or a lot of it is being um, just for personal interest, which is great. I think personal interest is great, but there isn't the extent to kind of understand it's bigger than me, it's bigger than us, and that's the whole point of like spirits, and that's the whole point of like the other side. It's like there's something bigger than us, and in
Yes.
order to like get that in action, you need to not just be you in the mix, like,
Yes.
right? And so when and I gotta turn on a light on in here.
No,
I
you're
don't know why
fine.
it's so dark, but and my light's not very bright, but that's just to make sure, you can even that I'm not just in a cave broadcasting. um, like we need to make sure that we are out and about, and it's not because, hey, like this is what I'm doing. It's just like people need to know, like when I started meeting people through your station and meeting people as I grew within this work, because at first I was in psychic mediumship and I knew some people who did paranormal research, but it wasn't like the norm. But when I started meeting people who did paranormal research, I went, "Oh, you do that in San Diego? Oh, you do that in this state?" And, suddenly I'm like, I visit there. Oh, I go there. I know this person. Why haven't I
Mhm.
ever known that this is a thing? And it's actually quite people are welcoming as long as they know, I think, that you're curious about it too. But there's just such, I think, isolation,
Yeah.
and the only crossovers you see a lot are what's on TV, and it's just like, all right, the rules are everyone shows up and wears black. It's just like the ghosts can see you, and the beings can see whether you wear black or not. Like it's not the visual of I'm a paranormal
Yeah.
researcher, I wear black, and this is what we do, and let me post it. It's so much more than that.
It's a lot more than that. It is so much more than that. That what has happened that I've seen. This is my opinion. I have seen the we come out of this, and it's turned into I want to discover this. I want to be the one that finds these answers. I. No, it needs to be we. It has to be we. There is strength in numbers, and we're all human beings. We're all here for the same answers. We all have a curiosity and want to know what happens whenever that day comes. And oh my goodness, look at all the people. Hi, Debbie.
Yeah,
Hi,
everyone stays
Christina,
there.
Tim. Oh,
We got two
goodness.
stages in the house. Jasmine. They're all saying hi from earlier too. Christina was stopping by.
Oh,
Hi. Jessie Cat was saying my two favorite people together again. What a
Jessica.
sweetheart. Yeah, Jessica's a sweetheart. Angela was saying
Oh,
hola. Uh, Tim was giving you a shout out.
oh.
He loved your bio. He's like Rocket Todd. Um, yeah, oh yeah. People coming on in.
That's good.
Debbie saying hi again.
That's good. There's so much with this community, Kelly, and I'm not saying, because you have unity. Okay, I'm not saying that we're all going to get along and sit in a circle and sing kumbaya. I'm not saying that. I don't
It can
see that.
happen.
Oh, I got to give a shout out to Darren Morgan too. Hi, John. Oh my goodness, so good to see all of you.
Carolyn, hello. And the people who are in
South
the
Africa.
comment section, we've met them along the way. We really have.
It's just beautiful.
It's a testament. Like, we're
It
enjoying this because of them.
makes my heart melt. It makes my heart melt to see everybody come together. It really does. Because this community is super, super strong. This community has been through highly. This community has been through hell and back. This community has been made fun of. It has been put down. It has been shrunk to a minuscule of people. It's stronger than what it used to be in numbers, but everybody is working individually, I'm seeing. And we used to collaborate. We used to get into a chat room and talk it out. We would have a topic, we would hash it out in a chat room back in the day. The whole community would get together and do this. Now, everybody has either a podcast these days or a way to get their message out, which is phenomenal. There's plenty of room for all of us. I mean, get the information out there, but connect with other people. Don't just have them on the show, connect with them, collaborate with them. Hey, I tried this years ago, it didn't work. And I was thinking if I tried this instead, it might. Talk to people about that. Don't don't be afraid. So many are afraid
Yes.
to
Yes.
post a photo or share their audio or their experience in general because they're afraid somebody's going to make fun of them. Somebody's going to
Yes.
say, you don't know what
Definitely.
you're talking about. You're new, which is so wrong. We were all new once. We were all brand new into this, didn't know anything. And I've had years of experience with it, and I still make mistakes. I'll tell you a big mistake I made. I use a cassette recorder, it's a shoebox recorder, it's an old school thing. I didn't connect an external microphone to it once.
Oh, yeah.
You have to
Oh,
do
yeah.
that. That's a given. So we all make mistakes, but it's how you live up to that mistake. Are you going to do it again? Are you going to repeat it?
I
These
think
are
so.
things that people that I've noticed and that I've talked to are afraid of. And I talk to a lot of them in Messenger. They'll send me questions and things, and it's terrible on what they had been through prior to sending that message. They've shared photos with other people and were laughed at. Um, and that breaks my heart because everybody has their own niche. They have their own set skills. Use them. Use these things. Someone like yourself, you are a gifted psychic medium, numerologist. You have numbers in you go. I mean, it's as easy for you to breathe as it is to work numbers. I can't do that.
In the
So I would
intuitive
come
sphere,
to you.
yes.
I would
In the
come to
intuitive
you.
sphere, yes. For math in general, not always the case. But I hear no, you're right. With it's very easy for me to feel into that.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
To
that
feel
that
into
that
that.
is your niche. That is where you were meant to be. So someone like myself, I'm not going to sit here and tackle numerology, Kelly, without coming to you first and saying, "Hey, Kelly, I want to try numerology. I've never done it before. What's some advice you can give me?" That's all we need in this community to get to that next step. And very few people are working to that next step. They're too busy worrying about monetizing on YouTube or getting a show on television or something of that nature. Drop that, because that's not important. It's not. Um,
True. It's true. A lot
what
of
we
people are overthinking this,
Mhm.
and really, this is something that just needs to be explored and shared. I know that I overthink things. I mean, like, someone I know was, sent me a incredible video, excuse me, a picture of what looked like a portal that they got when they were just in a spiritual garden. They're like, "You got to see this." And
Yeah,
they're like, "Share it if you want." And I overthought sharing it, or with even the numbers. Sometimes I go, who wants to just hear about numerology posts all the time, even though that's like part of my thing. And I just right. And
people do.
I'm sure on your end, you just go, well, I don't have to share that today.
Every once
Like,
in a
how does
while.
it go for you? Even though
Yeah.
you know so many people, and you've had such dedication and commitment to paranormal research and metaphysics. Like, where do you find your blockages are with how you post or how you share or how you put yourself out there?
What I do, and that's a great question. What I do, if I'm if I went out and captured some evidence, I'm going to share it with some people that I trust. Um, Usually it's done through messenger, text, things of that nature. The problem is the approach. It's instead of posting a picture and asking, "What do you think it is?" Most will post a picture and say, "Yes, Jessica, absolutely." The people will post a picture and say, "This is a ghost cat," or "This is a ghost horse." When you look at it, confidence is good, but overconfidence in this field will squash you. It will squash you. So you want to take a photo like that and present it to people. I captured this at an old haunted mansion on a Friday night. It was storming and so forth. What do you think it is? Instead of
Yeah,
saying what it is, ask your peers what they think it is, because colleges do it. Everything's peer reviewed.
that's a
Everything,
great point.
articles are peer reviewed. Our evidence should be peer reviewed. And you have to get a little bit tougher skin in this field. You've got to take the chip off your shoulder, simply present what you have. I captured this. I'm not sure what it is. I'm looking for help. I'm looking for advice. What do you all think? And then
Yes,
let the answers come. Let them come and just sift through there, because you're going to get some crap in there. You're going to get some trolls. You're going to get some people. But that is something that you captured, that you feel is paranormal in nature. Get it out there. Don't hang on to it. Don't hold on to this, because it could be an answer. It could be, you could solve a mystery and not even realize it.
I do think that needs to be encouraged, in the paranormal field and in the psychic mediumship
Hmm.
field, 'cause a lot of people are holding back. And I mean, I know when I first started, um, like, I didn't think I was like the definition of crazy, but a lot of times I would be like, "Am I crazy?" I better think before I say that, or I test things out, or I wouldn't
Hmm.
say things until I got it 3 times, or I got this overwhelming feeling like I should say it. And a lot of times I would miss when I could help somebody, or I'd miss when the time was available for me to say something. And it wasn't until I started getting comfortable was when things started becoming really effortless. So you have to like get out of your comfort zone and be okay with everything that you said, Todd. Just have, a little bit of thick skin and ask people what they think. And if people are being rude and not nice, you find the people who are excited by the things that you
Yes.
say. As long as you're like truthful, you're gonna find your people. It might take 5 years, 10 years. Sorry, guys. I think
Yeah.
less time because people are more open to it now. But what do you think? Like, how long did it start to take for you to find people who positively responded and actually had like engaging things to say with what you were bringing to the table?
I was probably into this field heavy. It was probably my second year when I started seeing people come together. Hi, Michelle. Yeah,
Hey,
there's
Michelle.
speaking of veteran researchers, there's Michelle LeBaron right there. Go to her. I mean, there's people, a lot of people will sit at home and be like an armchair researcher, try to micromanage an investigation from home. And you can't, you've got to get out into it. You've got to get in there and work with it. And when I first started, I saw a lot of people that were eager. This was before television shows, by the way. This was when it was real taboo to talk about, and people thought you were crazy for coming in this field. And my second year is when I started seeing how eager people were to learn, because I used to teach EVP lessons. I would teach them every Tuesday and Thursday in a chat room. And there were 3 different stages people would go through. Started right from the basics and all the way up. And people would, and it was free. And people would just come from all over the world into this chat room to learn,
Wow.
just to
Wow.
learn simple recording methods, simple ways to go out there and speak to the spirits. And I felt so included, and so did they. But now, I don't know what happened, Kelly. I really don't. I don't know what happened with the community, but it went this way quick. And you've got veterans here, beginners here, to where we should be here. If we were here in the middle, we would have so much more. You've got people out there developing some amazing equipment like Austin Maynard. That guy, oh my goodness, he is working his tail off to try to find a way to communicate. Like I said, Tony Rathman, Ron Iacovetti with Staticom, they are working. They are going above and beyond to communicate. And they're starting to really gain some attention, which is what we need. We need a change in this field. We need something, I hate saying this, to motivate us, because our morale in this community is so low, because there are so many, yes, it is, Michelle, because there's so many people that have been hurt, that have been ridiculed, that have been pushed away, pushed aside. Well, they're going to leave and go do something else. And that very well could have been the person to solve the mystery, and we just let them go because we didn't agree with their methods. We didn't agree with their protocols. The community, I think all communities were established to evolve. And what I find unfortunate is the only community with any set rules, guidelines, protocols for all to follow is the UFO community. They are squared away.
Really? They have really good.
Yeah,
I don't know
they
enough about the UFO community. They're pretty consistent.
they're pretty squared away. They are
Wow.
pretty squared away, to where we are not. We have scattered thoughts here. We have a little bit of evidence here, some data over here, but no one wants to claim it, or no one wants to take credit for it. No one, we're too worried about climbing that mountain. And we're climbing the wrong damn mountain. We need to just get back together, even appoint certain people, veterans and so forth, to set forth the guidelines, curriculum, if you will, for other people to follow. People will follow it. They really will.
I do think so. Yes. There's enough of there's so much lack of community. And I say that with like compassion, I really
Mhm.
do. But there's so much lack of community because you hear people all the time, they gravitate to conferences or events or, broadcasts, podcasts, and they say, I like this stuff, but I wish there was something in my town. I wish there was something, like a group that I liked online, and we don't have enough people holding space for others. And I do think that is in multiple communities. Like I hear that in the spiritualism community with like mediumship, how there's not enough new people coming in.
Uh-huh.
There's not enough simplicity with the way sometimes psychic is taught or mediumship is taught. There's all these rules, and people are knowing that they're just so, how can I put it? When you come into this work, it's not because of a rule and what somebody taught you, because it's so different. Usually you come into this work thrusted by something uncommon. So you're unfolding in a different way than what you've been shown. And was that the same for you, Todd? Like you didn't have a guidebook. So when someone starts giving you the guidebook, it ostracizes you.
Yeah, I didn't have a guidebook at all. We didn't have social media. MySpace was around, but you're not going to find anything on MySpace except tumbleweeds back then about the paranormal. There was nothing. I had to reach out to people. I had to reach out to people like Sarah. And she took me under her wing, thank God. She explained a lot of these things to me that I didn't understand. And so did Jason. Jason is an amazing individual, years of experience. And you have to get tougher skin. You've got to just take that step forward. We're a community. Like it or not, we are a community. And this is an absolute gorgeous community to be in. But the problem is not everyone's is accepted, which I found that so
Yeah,
disheartening
it's true. It's true.
because this community accepted me, Kelly, when no one else would. And it used to be fantastic. And it still is. It's just a lot of people are in hiding. And once they pop out of hiding and start worrying about the spirits again, respect again, the client again, then I think we'll start making these strides. We will come together as one. Para-unity is hard. Like I said, you're going, oh, thank you, Michelle. Para-unity is hard because you have so many personalities out there and personalities clash. So you have to develop your own style and hope that someone will follow that style or take your style and say, hey, look, Todd, I saw that you went out, you did a recording session for 5 minutes. You asked this question, but what if you asked this question instead?
Yes.
Those kinds of things right there can change the game just
The
like that.
curiosity,
Hmm.
right? Like the curiosity for us to fuel one another. And I do think like we need people like yourself or people who have been in this long, to it's like not always do we it's not about telling people what to do. It's about saying like, based on my 10 or 20 years, I'm gonna tell you the consistencies that I see, or I relate to what you're doing because you know other researchers relate to that too, and there's commonalities and people feel strong together.
Hmm.
um so Todd, I think that maybe there are classes due. You were teaching EVP before. It sounds like it's more are due because no one's teaching it, but people are just saying, pick up a spirit box or buy this, this machine with a dancing like little man on
Yeah.
it and go out there, and they're having
And
to figure out things themselves, and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
that comes down to let's talk about the classes for a second because there used to be so much education. Oh my goodness, it was everywhere. So much education. Hi, Ane. So much education.
Yeah,
And now, because people, okay, for an example, you have an investigation 101 course that you can take and be certified in. Do you know that some people in this community will make fun of your certification because you educated yourself? Well, just because you're certified, that doesn't mean you can do this. It's very important to do that, to educate yourself, to get into some of these courses, to find them. They're out there, but they're hidden because of ridicule. Because you have the EVP classes, for example, that I taught. They were free of charge for everyone that wanted to learn about it. And yes, I gave them a little certificate of completion. You're damn right I did, because it wasn't easy. It's not easy going through all that. And to
Awesome.
certify someone, that's just giving them experience. You're not saying you know everything now. You're not saying you're the end all be all of EVP now. No, you certified them because they took the course, they went through it, they did the homework, and they're educated now. They have experience now, and they can take that out in the field, and it spreads like wildfire. You just don't see it anymore. You don't see on social media, especially. We have so many outlets now with all these social media outlets. All of this, there is just an endless amount of education to be had. Now, certain podcasts will hold special shows sometimes to teach people things, but as far as coursework, that's few and far between. And people are afraid to take it because they think someone's going to make fun of them for being certified, which blows my tiny mind. Blows my tiny mind. Not the case. If you folks are out there, you are new to this, get educated. Don't just jump in there because you're going to get hurt, not necessarily by a spirit, because safety reasons. I mean, I've fallen into open graves. There's all kinds
Oh,
of
geez.
things. Oh yeah, that was a 6 foot
It gets
plunge. That
real.
hurt.
It gets really real.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I changed the walking method when you're recording. I walked right into it.
You have some on-site. Please, everybody, watch out for this.
It's the little things, Kelly. It's the little things.
It's the little things, but this is why we need, like, someone giving their firsthand advice, from the very little paranormal experience uh that I've been a part of, like the handful of experiences. It's very much, let me tell you what goes on in my mind, and let me guide you so you can know what goes on in your mind. You're like,
Sure.
you need to watch out for this. You need to, like, there's protocols, like equipment. This one is like better than this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got completely different understandings.
It is, and there's a lot to choose from. Just because you don't have a lot of equipment doesn't mean you're not a good investigator.
Yeah.
Actually, I think if the less equipment you have, the better investigator you are, because you're using your own intuition and common sense, which is, aside from respect, the best equipment you can have. Hi, Ronald. The best equipment you can have is common sense, a notebook, a flashlight. Simple. Keep it simple. You have to remember these spirits may be from the 1800s, 1700s, 1500s. You don't know. And they come into an area, they manifest into an area that's filled with lights, whistles, cameras, uh, all this other crap, lights. You just don't need it.
No.
They're not going to communicate, they're going to run. You have to go into a haunted location, maintain your composure, stay calm. The fun has also been taken out of paranormal ghost investigations. You need to have fun doing it. You
There
have to
has
have fun doing it.
there needs to be purpose. And,
The
like, yeah,
purpose.
if you're having joy and fun, that means you're in purpose.
It's
You're
it's it's not about going into an investigation and sitting there and watching a camera all night. You've got to get in there. Go deep, go into the basement, go into the attic, go into those places that your gut is telling you to go, because you don't want to sit there and watch that camera all night. You don't have to, because it's recorded. You can watch it later. Get out there and do it. Someone like, and I bring up Michelle again, she goes out in some of the most wicked locations that I've seen, and she has fun doing it. Has
Hey,
fun
yeah,
doing
she's
it.
brave.
And
She's brave
that,
and brave.
in turn, in my opinion, is going to get you more results, because the spirit's going to read you like a book, I think. And they know you better than you know yourself. And I think you're going to get more with that mentality than you would going in there super scientific, close minded, and just going through your spiel, your question spiel. Be a person. They're a person. You be a person.
100%, 100%. Like, definitely within psychic mediumship and energy sensitivity, it all goes back to connection. And even though I believe technology is great because it helps extend our understanding, but if we are not connecting and we're having something connect for us, it takes away how we can. Um, it sounds funny, it sounds redundant, but it takes away how we can personally connect.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel like spirit comes to us, whether they're, connected to the land, or they want to tell a story, or there's a purpose for them coming on that day at that time to certain people. They want to share human connection and human experience. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
I was this, I lived this, I want you to understand. It's all about highlighting the human experience. And
Yes.
so people have, like, they don't want to talk to cameras. They want to talk to you. And if they know that everybody has their job, they go, wow, everyone's making it happen. And they will come to the people that they need to go to that will listen. But if no one's there except one person, they actually will try the one person. But if you're not focused, or if you're not open to that, then you're gonna wonder, well, why is nothing coming up on my camera or my recorder? But it actually is happening. It
Mm-hmm.
actually is
It
happening.
is. It is. And you'll notice as well. I mean, I'm sure you've heard, and everybody else has heard, negative brings negative, positive brings positive. Same thing. If you're a new investigator, hi Robin. If you're a
Hi,
new
Robin.
investigator and you get out there for the first time, let's say you've got an investigation plan, it's your first one, and your husband he's open to it, but yet he's really closed minded. So you two have an argument before the investigation. Neither one of you two should go, because you're going to bring that with you, and it's going to taint the entire investigation. So you have to separate yourself from those things. I'm not saying go in there skipping to the investigation or doing cartwheels in front of the building, but be positive. You have to be positive, because it's going to bring positive results. That's just the human way. That's the condition. That's usually what happens. It just
Yes.
attracts positivity. Uh,
Yes.
and I think you yield more results that way when you're out there in the field. If you have a good, solid, positive team, not one that bickers, one that works together as a team, not one that's worried about getting the next television show on History Channel, not one that's worried about how many followers they have on YouTube, one that is unified, educated, and there for the client, there for the spirit, and respect. You have those things, and you have the ultimate team. And sure, you can go to your conferences. That's where you meet people. That's where you collaborate. That's where you talk. That's where you share things behind closed doors, unfortunately, because social media is not the place they share things anymore. It should be, but it's not. And I know with today's technology, so many things can be faked. I get it. But if you find a fake photograph or fake audio, fake video, call them out on it.
Yeah,
Don't
I
sit
don't
there and
think
just
that's done
scroll by.
enough. I don't think that's done enough. I think
Mm-mm.
people make fun of it or people just believe, and
Yeah.
there isn't enough like dialogue of, hey, what do you think about this? And I agree with that. I really do agree with that. Do you have any people that reach out to you sometimes and want you to be like their tech guy or their EVP guy? Okay, so there are people trying still to put things together.
And they do. The community, the people in the community, don't get me wrong, I burned a lot of bridges, Kelly. Holy cow, if I burn bridges. It happens. It happens in this field. But you have got good, solid people that want to learn, that are curious. I have people send me EVP to this day. Hey, Todd, can you run this through? Tell me what the Hertz level is. Hey, Todd, can you
Wow,
run this through? Tell me what this is. And I have fun doing that. Oh my goodness, I love doing that. And too much,
that's good
which is
though.
why I had to retire from the field because I
Oh
became
no.
obsessed with it.
Okay,
And
I can understand that.
yeah. And but they come to you with valid questions. And what bothers me is they have to come to me through email or through messenger because they're afraid to address it with the community publicly. And it shouldn't be that way. We should, I'm not saying, like I said, we shouldn't sit in a circle, sing kumbaya together, but we should respect each other's findings, evidence until otherwise. If someone sends you something swearing this is an apparition of a little girl and it clearly is a window reflection, you need to let them know that is a window reflection. Don't just scroll by it.
Right.
Educate them. You know, that's going to help them from making that mistake again. Because if you're sitting there, if I can send you, there's two things I can do. I can send you a photograph with a pattern, and you will look at that photograph. And within 2 minutes, you will find objects, you will find faces, you will find birds, you will find whatever in there, whatever your mind is trying to process, but it may or may not be correct. The same thing with audio. I can send you a piece of audio that has white noise over it, that shh, and your mind can only process one thing at a time when it comes to sound. So it's going to try to manipulate that, and you're going to start hearing things within that noise that are not there, that your mind is playing tricks on you. It's called pareidolia. It happens a lot. And you just need to educate those people. Let them know, hey, this is a great start. You're off to a great start. This is a great piece of evidence. However, this could be pareidolia because the sun was over here during the time casting a shadow on this.
I
So
do.
you educate them.
Pareidolia is a real thing, and I do really believe the more that you, let's say from the psychic medium's perspective, someone who sees spirit or hears spirit, um, you are so sensitive to certain frequencies that you'll be able to see things very easily. So, there's sometimes during the day where I go, oh, that looked like something, or how can I put it? Like, I'll just be more prone to kind of seeing things out of
Mhm.
nothing. And I acknowledge that. Like, I could look at a splattered painting and I'll probably find a face
Yep.
or a lot of different things. Um, I do feel that that exercises the muscle for clairvoyance. And, when you play around with audio and you start to be sensitive to sounds and words, it helps open that mechanism for it to be used very easily by the spirit world. Does that mean you're always getting evidence? No, you have to have it verified. You have to have somebody say, yes, I can understand that. I know what you're talking about. Like, if you're on that flow, then away you go and you
Yeah.
flex that muscle, and my muscle's always being flexed in that department. I can't get away from seeing faces and random things. i just
Hmm.
i just can't. But like, um right, you have to know the context and how things are being used, and I love the
Sure.
fact that you bring that up. Like, dust is not an orb and all those things.
Right. The orb phenomenon. Here's my take on the orb phenomenon, real quick. 99% of that is dust. It really is. It's everywhere. It's all over. And the way the digital cameras capture photographs these days, it amplifies the dust. Old school cameras didn't do that. You go out with a Polaroid, you're not going to get orbs. Okay. Um, the orb itself. Now, I have seen, oh my goodness, boy, this brings
There's
back
some
some
good orb
memories.
ones.
This
There's
brings
some good
back some
orbs
memories.
out there.
I was at an old schoolhouse. I'll tell a quick story. I was at an old Quaker schoolhouse and filming through the window with the night vision camera. And I didn't see this at first, not till the video was played back. But when I was talking to them through the window, this orb of light, of this
Well,
ball of light, came out and it went, hey. And then another one came out and went, hey, daddy, just like that. And I still have that on film on the old Sony handy cam film, that little 8mm they have. And it was the most amazing thing I'd ever witnessed, because not only did I have the video proof, but I had the audio on it. It was almost as if a little kid was coming out there. Their dad was picking him up from school
wow.
or something.
Wow.
It completely blew me away. And it wasn't a dust ball. Like a dust ball is gonna hover like this, gonna do this kind of stuff. This thing just went shoo, shoo, and it was its own energy, which I think everything in this field is energy and vibration. That is exactly what it is, I feel. And it just took me by
Yes.
surprise. You're
Yes.
kidding me. How on earth did I capture this? How on earth? This is incredible. And
I
it was
wanna.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, please, please, please. I wanna like kind of like acknowledge too. I know a lot of people who I've experienced it just once in my life, but I've heard a lot of stories from you, from other people, a lot of intuitives, and people actually who don't even believe in this stuff, but they've had an experience where they've seen like a golden ball of light or like a bright light, and it
Mhm.
will just like have like this range
Yep.
of motion where it goes really fast or it just like lines up in the middle of the room. And it's it's a more common thing, even though it's mind blowing. It blows my mind when I saw it. It blows my mind to really think about it. But you actually got audio with it. So
Yeah.
audio,
Yeah,
you had your external mic going as this happened. How
no,
did you capture
this was all captured on, it went right, these orbs of light went right past me. I was
Wow.
standing in the middle of the window, and on the film, I'll have to get this thing out and digitalize it and share it, but it came out the corner of the window, just right beside me, just shoom. Hey, shoo, hey, daddy. And I was blown away. I must have watched that 100 times, thinking, okay, this isn't coincidence, because once you see the orb of light, you hear the voice. Then you see another one, hear a voice. I think with the orb, a true spirit orb is the easiest way for an entity to travel. I think it's a perfect sphere.
Ooh, I
It can
like that.
travel from here, there, anywhere as a perfect sphere. And I think that they manifest. You go from an orb to an ectomist, which is like a
Mm,
smoky, misty kind of. And I've seen a few of those too. Usually, when you see a mist, an apparition is soon to follow, and that's the
mm.
next transition, is an apparition, orb, mist, apparition.
Yes, yes.
Sometimes you just get the orb because they choose not to expand, or they can't. There's not enough heat molecules, maybe there's not enough cold molecules for them to
Wow.
manifest. There's so many different variables with all that, and you've got to take that into consideration. You've heard of hot spots and cold spots, I'm sure, and I'm sure everybody
Yeah,
else has too.
you feel them too. Yes,
Well,
yes, yes.
to explain them, an orb or an apparition or a mist, let's say they come into this realm, they would use the most powerful molecule, which would be the heated molecules.
Oh wow, yeah.
So they suck the heat out and leave. When they leave, they have to leave all that behind. So that's why you have hot spots and cold spots. Either they've been there and gone, or they're still there in the room. Usually, when the room changes temperature, they're manifesting. The ions are all getting used and charged, and the static electricity in the air is going to change. Your hair is going to raise up on the back of your neck. Something's about to happen, and that all could have started from a little true spirit orb just
Hmm.
manifesting. There's so many things that go into the investigation, the data, collecting it, all the fun stuff. But
Well,
it
I
all comes
believe
down to
what
common
you're
sense.
saying. I believe what you're saying because orbs do show up like during investigations, and orbs show up around mediums, and they look different, and
Hmm.
sometimes you can see faces in them, and sometimes, like, when people are thinking of loved ones or if they're going through a hard time, an orb will follow them. So it's like a connection to the person because they needed a little bit more support, or the intention for the spirit to be around was there, and it gets pulled in, and there's a tremendous amount of energy. It's talked a lot about in psychic mediumship, where the spirit world needs to blend and slow down their vibration to match the frequency of this world.
Bingo.
And you have disturbances that happen as that occurs. You can feel the hot, the cold, or you can feel all of a sudden your brain start going faster, or your energy starting to change because you're interacting with the energy that's meeting you, and there has to be that bridge, like that
Hmm.
equilibrium.
Hmm.
Oh, now I'm aware of this because it was already there. You can argue it's always there. It's just like this overlapped thin veil that it's just it's not natural for us to pick up those frequencies.
No, it's a beautiful thing. It's a gorgeous thing to experience. And I think with spirit orbs, like I said, 99.9% of them are pure dust. Okay,
Yeah,
it's unmistakable. And
probably
one way
should.
you can
Yeah.
tell, if you think you
Yep.
have an if you think you have an orb, zoom in on it. If it's dust, you're going to see little squares or wedges within there. A true spirit orb is going to be a ball of light, unmistakable.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and it's how you handle it. It's how you deal with it, with your composure, with your attitude, the way you present it to other people. Because yeah, Daniel, he caught one. They're and it's, to me, it's motivation. It's an answer when you see these things, and you could see orbs with your naked eye. Like I said, they're rare, but at very active locations, they're hopping. They're coming out of the corner of your eye. Um, it's just, there's so many things that go into it with the shadows and so forth. Another example, shadows. People think that shadow ghosts and beings are negative. They think they're demonic. They think, oh my goodness, I saw a shadow ghost. It was dark and scary. No, maybe that was the only energy they could use to manifest, was that kind of low light, you know.
Yeah. Eh, honestly, and I'll say this: when people are not used to the electromagnetic spectrum of like the way that colors vibrate, so people who are very visual or clairvoyant or have had those experiences, um, they'll see color off of spirit.
Hmm.
And when your eyes or your energy isn't developed to seeing color at that frequency, you'll see shadow and transparency before you see color. You'll see sometimes whites, but a lot of times you'll see clear or gray, or you'll see that outline. So you're wondering what the heck is that outline, and you're aware of a presence. And so sometimes it actually comes in as a shadow when it's not a shadow at all. Like, actually, if you were attuned, you'd get an overlay of light or characteristics or emotion or words. So it's because we haven't developed the capacity, and then since we don't know what's going on or we're new to it, it breeds even more fear, and a lot of times they're not shadows at all.
No. And it's a misconception. And to answer Nancy there,
Yeah, let's talk about
if
that.
an orb has squares, 9 times out of 10, that's going to be dust. You'll see it.
Oh, I know what you're
It'll
talking
be,
about. Yeah.
yeah,
There's certain
spirit
signs
orb's going to be, a dust orb is going to be transparent. Any way you slice it, it's going to be transparent. You'll be able to see what's on the other side. Plus, you'll see the little squares and wedges in there, and you'll see that all dust orbs have the same design. To where a spirit orb, you capture that on. Hi, Keith. You capture that on film. You're just going to be blown away because it's solid. You can't see through it. It's a good solid piece. And to me, it's the easiest way for them to travel, for them to manifest, is by harnessing all that energy into a little sphere. And it's
you got the hearts on that one. Yeah, it's great how he's just like a magician. He can just wiggle his hands a certain way and things come out.
Yeah, we can just do all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh, there we go. And he's a medium. He doesn't even know it. Someone just said happy birthday from the spirit world. That got him to do that. So there you go.
But I mean, what I want are for more people to come into this field to find answers, not to find followers, to find answers. And you can actually do both if you want, but focus on the answers. Focus on the mystery. Focus on why, for example, we all know or feel that something such as Sasquatch, hi Michael, exists. No one has ever captured one and brought it home, but there's been way too many documented sightings of seeing him, way too many documented sightings of seeing apparitions, UFOs, other cryptids. All these people can't be lying, because if you read the stories, you read the experiences, you really listen to the person, you can tell they're genuine. And I think some people have experiences, like I may see an apparition in a room, but you don't see it.
Right.
Maybe that was meant for me and me alone to,
Right.
Quell my doubts, or to give me a little sign that I'm on the right path. But some people may not see it at all. It may take a lifetime for them to finally see an apparition. I've seen one, just one, and I'll never forget it. It was what's called collective. We all saw it, all four of us. It was a little girl.
That's
It
cool.
was the scariest thing I'd ever seen, the cutest, scariest thing, because the eyes were soulless. They were, and they were, it was, we all just froze. But when you see something like that, say something.
Yes, please.
Don't go, oh, geez, if I say something, they're going to put me on meds and give me a straitjacket. Don't worry about that, because this community should be safe. It's a safe place for people that experience these kinds of things. So share the hell out of it. And I don't see that anymore, Kelly. And it makes me sad. It really does. It makes me sad. But I know and I feel that this community is going to shift soon. You have a lot of great researchers still, and you have new ones coming in. And I think it's a matter of time before the generations mix and we have some discoveries. There's Ron right there. We were just talking about him. And there it's teamwork. It's working as a team, not an individual, because I don't think one individual is going to solve this mystery. I think it's going to be a huge team of people coming together with that piece of evidence they collected or what have you. And it's going to be a huge team of people coming together going, okay, we got this. There's no denying it. We worked hard to get this. We followed all protocols to get this. Here we are. Because this community should be, like I said, a safe place for people to share, collaborate, uh, educate, correct. I wish I saw more of it. I really do.
Yeah. Yes, and I do think.
It's at a standstill right now.
And tell me how you feel, Todd. Like, I do think there is a need for more teachers to come forth in specialty fields.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be connected to like paranormal research. They're going to be connected to intuition, psychic mediumship, healing. But so many people experience energy uniquely, and we need each other to open
Mm-hmm.
those ways of perception,
Yeah.
because we the more we share, we go, it's like this, it's like, why wouldn't it be? And like, I know that I'm very it's I can pick up visual things very easily. I'm still learning how to expand, the audio side of my life. But a lot of times I can see energy, and I can actually say, hey, if you look like right here, you can see it. And I can guide people to actually see the things that I see. And I need people within my life to guide me to experiences or sound or feeling that I can't feel. Like, I need that. And I know, even just, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, but I feel like this stimulates kind of what I'm going to ask you. Like, I've had students, and the students come in and they are very audio, and just my time with the students, I've become more sensitive to names, more sensitive to words, more sensitive to music, because I'm able to share their energy, and they teach me because
Yes.
I can just share energy with them. And we all have special gifts that we can elevate others with. It doesn't matter the skill level.
Yep. I mean, damn it. I hate saying that word, but any way you slice it, we are all connected. We are all connected with energy and vibration. And it's about timing. It's about being at the right place at the right time. Just because you go to an extremely active location, and I've been to some extremely active locations and had no activity whatsoever, it doesn't depend on that. You go in there with a mindset, an open mindset. You have things going on in your mind that you're questioning. Okay, let's see. Hi, Jackie. Let's see if this place is haunted. Okay, it looks haunted. Just because it looks haunted doesn't mean it is. Do some digging, do some history, do some research, but go in there with an open mind, common sense, and respect, and your mind is going to be blown. I was so skeptical, Kelly. I was denying this and so close minded because of the way I was raised. These things don't exist. And I believe that. That was just wired into my brain. And when I captured that EVP, that damn horse, and I couldn't figure out how I could hear it on the tape, but I didn't hear it with my ear, that's when it was on.
Yeah,
That's
that's
when
when
it clicked.
like we have something right here is right. We have something here.
And everybody has a click moment. Everybody's going to have a click moment. If you're out there investigating, if you're out there and you're not getting any evidence, don't stop trying. Keep trying. Never give up. Oh my goodness, never give up, because there's going to be some nights where you have nothing. You have zilch. You have spent all this time and money on this location. You don't have any evidence. You think, I'm giving this up. I'm no good at it. No, you're great at it. You're fantastic at it. And I say that because you showed up to try. Keep trying. Don't give up, because that's how we're going to solve this mystery, is by making these mistakes. The
We have
problem, we're
mistakes.
not
Yeah.
sharing our mistakes. We need to share our mistakes. Don't be embarrassed by them. Get on there on social media. Hey, went on an investigation last night. I asked this question, got this response. I should have asked this question instead. Put that on there. Make that public. Teach people. Let people learn from your mistakes so they don't make them. And the next thing you know, the community gets stronger and stronger. It just starts to snowball. People will start sharing things again, and they won't have as many worries. They won't have as much stress because there's so much of that right now. Everybody's
There's
afraid.
Everyone's afraid in a lot of categories, and there's been a lot of stress for people with like the world changing. I know people are dealing with a lot of different stresses, and really, regardless of kind of all those changes, the number one thing I really see within this work is just don't, and with anything, as you develop and become, more confident and more courageous of stepping out, don't isolate yourself. And when you become that courageous individual that starts to come forward, you start seeing all the other people that you want to encourage not to isolate themselves either, because it doesn't help. I mean, you don't have to be out there with every aspect of your life, but like you need to be out there sharing what you love and what you're interested in
Mhm.
and pulling other people into the mix.
Yeah, you said the key word, share. And don't say you can't, folks, because they have a share button now. I mean, share it.
Right?
Just get it out
At
there.
least
Use social media as a tool to solve these mysteries instead of a tool to get more likes, to get more followers, to get more this. Use it as a tool to share knowledge because it can be shared so quickly. If I screwed up on an investigation and made a mistake that I feel someone else needs to know so they don't do it, post it. You know, sure, you may not get as many likes. Who cares? You're helping. If you help just one person in this field, you've done your job. You've done your job because there's a lot of people waiting for things like that, waiting for information because they're afraid to make the first move. They're new. They're afraid to kind of rock the boat. And
yeah.
this community, it's a boat that rocks back and forth constantly. So let it rock and just share your information, be confident about it and learn from it. I mean, it's not
I
hard.
just learn from it, like you said. Just like learn from it and keep going. And so, like, I know when I first started, I needed people like in my life just to observe, just to be a part of their classes, just to be a part of their lectures, to go, this is real. And wow, like I see the quality of work that they do. So I know that it's just not people just spitting ideas. These are things that are real that more people want to know, that are real, want to experience. And like you, Todd, you put together a station, and you've through all your work within radio and broadcasting and having shows, you've brought thousands for sure, thousands of people together. And that is like you going, this is important to me. And
Mhm.
you helped me like have, this network. You helped me even to consider having a weekly show. I've always, how can I put it? I've always considered it, but I never was like, well,
Yeah.
maybe like, would be nice. But you're like, I've built this. Would you like, if you're interested, what do you say? Right. And I was like, of course I'm interested, but you gave me the ticket, you gave me the bridge, you helped me leap, and I probably wouldn't have leaped myself, or it would have taken maybe another 5 years, another 10 years, maybe another 15 years. Like you closed that gap, and we got to close the gaps for people.
Yes. Thank you for that. And you're right. I mean, every person has their purpose and every person has their own set of skills. If you can take that person, hone their skills, teach them new ones, lo and behold, you have a solution, and we're all looking for solutions, not problems. We're looking for solutions in this field. And they're few and far between. There's more problems, unfortunately, than solutions. But if we take things like that, our skills, like you, when you came to the station, oh my goodness, it was a blessing because I could see your passion. I could hear your passion. I could feel your passion. and someone coming into this field new, they have so much motivation, so much energy. They want to go, go, go. And then someone says, that's a dust orb in the wrong way. They're crushed. They're out of the
Yeah.
field. So we just lost a community member that
Yes.
may
Yes.
have solved some of these mysteries.
That's real. That's a
It's
real
very real.
reality. And you'll hear stories from people where maybe 10 years later they think about getting back into it. Like it can affect people for decades
Mhm.
just not being accepted.
Yeah. The acceptance. And I know this community like the back of my hand. This community accepted me when no one else would because of my past. And it doesn't matter who you are. If you have an open mind and you believe and you know that you had that experience as a child, you know that you saw that apparition in your bedroom that night, and you want to share that with the world, don't hide it. Share it. Get it out there, because you're going to help someone else who's afraid to talk and come forward to do so. And that's why I don't watch much television, to be honest with you. I don't watch the ghost shows. I narrate one and I watch it sometimes, but I'm not an avid watcher of all these ghost shows. But I will say this: they raised awareness. They have taken the taboo out of all this. More people are coming forward. Yes, sure. Some of them are crackpots, but you can differentiate the two. You can use
Yes. You
common
should keep the
sense.
contrast. You want to keep the contrast so you understand not that.
Someone comes to you and says, then
It's a
the
lot.
apparition grabbed me by the shirt and started smacking me in the face. Separate that. You're going to have some. Use your common sense. But those television shows, they 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 will take an entire investigation and combine it into an hour or 30 minutes. And you're going to see a lot of action with these shows. But what the way it really is, it's boring. It's very
Yeah.
boring. It's very quiet. You can't sit there while you're investigating and talk to your buddy, because you may disrupt a recording. You may disrupt this. So there's a lot of different variables in there. Yes, the Godfather himself, Johnny Zappis. And I'm glad Lord has latched on to him like that, because he is a true veteran. He has been there and done that. There's so much to be had in this field. There's so much that we haven't discovered yet, that if we just took and had a community meeting of some sort. Can you imagine how much we could get done with a small community meeting? It
It's
would
true.
be, why not?
I
You
mean,
know,
it's phenomenal when there's there might just be a day event, or if you're blessed to have a paranormal conference or a spiritual or metaphysical conference that lasts 3 days long, you feel like you're floating because you're like, I'm having so much fun. I'm meeting people that actually have things in common with me, and your spiritual ascension or your like metaphysical knowledge or paranormal knowledge, it grows so much in that short time. So yeah, we're not you're saying if only, right?
if only. And these conferences are amazing because you can have people sit there and talk, share, but not everybody can get to these conferences. I can't, for obvious reasons. I don't drive, but I can't get to a lot of these conferences to talk to these people. So I have to go other methods. Um, you have to take the time to sit down and help, instruct, guide some of these new people coming in, because like I said, they may have the answers because they have that fresh uh, mindset. That's the word I'm looking for. They have that fresh mindset, just like someone new on the job would. They have that freshness to them. Use that. Use that. Don't ridicule it. Use it. Oh my goodness, yes.
So we got
Absolutely, Ron. Absolutely. And don't
so it's
judge.
like Ron is encouraging, and I really think this is important. Like it's encouraging the discussion. Like it's okay to be skeptical, but
Hmm.
like promote the discussion. And it's
Yes.
okay to have standards in things. In fact, that's welcomes, but definitely share experiences. Share experiences rather than isolate experiences.
You've got to share it. And that's what we're going to do because Ron, Lourdes, Tony, Sherry, they're all going to be on Haunted Voices. We're going to be talking about Staticom, which is, I think, the biggest breakthrough that we have seen in decades.
Can you talk a little bit about Staticom? You've mentioned it a couple of times. So that's a new technology. What's going on with
Okay.
that?
You have EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. Then you have ITC. Hi, Deidre.
Yeah,
Instrumental transcommunication.
got it wrong.
Now, I want to learn, I'm going to learn more about Staticom when they come on. But what this is ITC on steroids, I think. If you could hear some of these captures that they have, some of these voices that have come through in response to questions, it's almost immediate. It's
Is it
almost as
really
if
sensitive
it's almost as
technology?
if
Like,
the four of
go
them
ahead.
have found the frequency to tune in.
Huh.
They have found
Huh.
the frequency to tune in and they're able to come through. Most ITC devices, like your spirit boxes, they use AM FM bands and they scan them at a quick rate. It's hard to pinpoint, like I could ask, what's your name? And all of a sudden a radio broadcast comes through and says, Bobby, it'll pop up just like that, and you'll think, okay, I asked the question, what's your name? Bobby came through, but Bobby is also the name of the DJ that was on that frequency. It's hard to decipher. Now, Staticom is different.
Hmm.
It has that range, that frequency that I think they've tapped into, and you get a more direct response. It's not one of those that's going to come through. There we go. White
Look at
noise
that.
generated in real time. Now, white noise has millions of different frequencies in there. It is, I've used it in the past to charge a room. I would play white noise for about an hour, and you would walk back into that room, and the atmosphere was so thick, you could feel the difference. Now, when I sit down with these guys, and hopefully everybody can tune into the show, see, no sweeping. So this is
Close.
just taking the noise and using the noise as a landing pad for them to come in and talk,
I
because you have all
yes.
these different frequencies within the noise. So they can find and choose and pick which one's easiest for them to use.
I
And
think
they've
that makes
discovered it.
I'm so excited kind of you saying it that way because that makes so much sense to me because like as a psychic medium, we're just trying to there's so much
Hmm.
wanting to come in. You just have to ground it. So if, and again, I believe that if there's a will, there's a way. So I'm sure there's always a way with different technologies as long as someone accurately tunes into it, right? But like with radio, I was just like, why do you need so much incoming, outcoming if there's already the spirit world is already doing that? So that is so interesting that they have a closed
Hmm.
system and they just allow the white noise to come up because the few times that I've interacted with the white noise kind of phenomenon, I was like, there's enough here maybe to kind of drop in
Hmm.
possibly already. That's really, really cool.
It's an amazing
Super
tool.
cool.
And mark my words, I'm telling you, this is the breakthrough that we have been looking for decades, because we haven't
Interesting.
made any big strides. We haven't made any huge discoveries. They did. So now we have hope. The community has hope again because of this, in the world of communication anyway.
Well, but yes, but it's funny and it's great because it's like it went back to being more simplistic rather than
Simplistic.
it's like
Yeah.
that's all you needed, actually, not to get distracted by all these other bells and whistles.
Oh, and I'm not here to judge anybody that has a lot of
Right,
equipment.
right.
I used to. I had a ton of it. I had a ton
Equipment's
of it.
great too.
But I found less is more. In this field, less is more. You if you go in and you set up like REM pods and cat balls here, then you've got motion detectors over here, you've got an SLR camera with the guy jumping around like this. It's just too much going on. It's too busy. You know, there's so much equipment to the investigator ratio. You're going to miss something. You can't watch it all at the same time. You're going to miss something. But if
It's
you
true.
go in there with just common sense, light equipment, the essentials, I think you're going to gain more from your investigation because you're going to have less stress. You're going to have less, you want to work smarter in this field, not harder. So less is more, in my opinion. And just take what hey, Michael, just take what you have learned and unlearn it. And you'd be surprised how simple it really is. You ask a question, you get an answer. You take a picture, you get a photo. It's so simple, but yet we're complicating the hell out of it
It's
by
true.
throwing this in there and then this and this what if. Don't what if yourself, just do. Go in there and do, and then hope for the best. Because sometimes, Kelly, you're going to get nothing. You're going to get butt kiss. it's gonna it's gonna suck sometimes. You're gonna walk away with nothing, and you're gonna think, I didn't do something right. What can I do next time to make that experience better? Number one, have fun.
Yes,
Got
I
to have fun.
agree.
Got to have
I
fun.
agree.
You got to keep it simple. Less is more. You go in with those simple factors, and you're going to have more of an experience. The old investigation teams, they, oh my goodness, they were such a team. And some still do this after an investigation. They'll all go out to breakfast or they'll all go out to dinner and they will talk about what they discovered, what happened. I would love to see more of that and film that. Don't film your
I
investigation.
like that. I like that.
Film
Yeah.
you guys after talking about it, what you did wrong, what you did right, what you captured. Don't film the investigation. That should be a personal experience for you and your team. Film the aftermath if you're going to film something.
I think you're right. It's like creating more of an environment to hold space. So holding space, and so people are grounding that to happen in the first place because everybody's in sync. But in order to be in sync, you have to have respect and you have to carve out a time and you have to not rush things. And it's just like, some of I think of you and I think of Debbie and I think of some of the other people that I'm meeting like within my life and other people that I've met prior to this. I've developed my mediumship or my skills because every week I showed up and you helped hold space for me, Todd, and like Debbie and I will hold space and do readings for each other and we'll work on our abilities with linking in. And so it's just like you need to have people who are willing to be there with you, and you have to develop a relationship with them. Like
Mm-hmm.
it has to mean something.
It does. It has to have meaning. It just, if you're going to do it right, do it the best you can the first time. You can only make one first impression, and that is no different than making a first impression with a spirit. You've got to go in there with the utmost respect for that spirit. They trump you. Okay. You're just a human being. They have been there and done that. So they're of a different type of entity. we're human beings. We have 10-15% of our brain that we use. I think spirits use all of it. They
Oh
are
yeah.
energy. They are everything. They are connected with us still. And I think if we go in there, and like I said at the beginning of the show, using mediums during investigations, tapping in to that energy, we're going to get so much more out of it. It may be an inner feeling. It may be a gut feeling. You may not see anything, but you feel it. Everybody has that intuition. You taught me that, Kelly. Everybody has that intuition. Use it. Don't be afraid to use it. Don't be afraid you're going to get made fun of. It's what you feel is right. And if you go in there with that mindset, your experience, your takeaway from that investigation is going to be hands down the best experience you could have. It's so easy to complicate things because you want answers. You want them now. We're impatient. We're human. We want things now. We want to know. I don't think we're supposed to know. I think we're getting smarter, much smarter. Technology is way smarter. That is going to be the key, is taking our common sense, mixing it with technology to get an end result. I think that's what's finally going to happen. And it's going to be a slap in the face. It's going to be
For a lot
hard
of
to swallow.
if it was a technology based finding and you had repetitious results that people like, that means the whole world would have to accept it. You're right. It would be a
Mhm.
slap in the face for people. It would be like, oh, okay, we got there for us, but
Yeah.
whoa, the world would be freaked out. It's like
Yeah.
the UFO stuff. It's all real. It's all real.
But people are working on it. That's the thing. People like Austin Maynard, Katie Stafford, the people that are taking the next step, they're not worried about what anybody thinks. Their skin is thick. They're okay. They're doing it. Those are the people that are going to take this to the next level. And the rest of us will just swoop in and follow. But those are the types of people. Those are the people that are filled with motivation. They have answers. They have a way to get those answers. And they're not afraid to share it with the world. You make a device these days and you can get these components. I mean, I say Radio Shack, it's all closed down, but you can get a lot of the components from a place like Radio Shack or Hobby Lobby or something of that nature. And you can have, yes, thank you. And there's people like that go that extra mile, that take their own personal time to better this community, to give us something, a tool that we can use out in the field to interpret some of these things that we hear or see or sense or smell or what have you. These gadgets that they come up with are incredible. And more people are open to them now. ITC used to be not frowned upon. It was misunderstood
What's
because
ITC? What's ITC?
instrumental transcommunication, they used to do it when it first started with television sets. They would turn on a television set uh, and leave it on, let's say, a static channel or what have you. And faces would appear. Um, Audio would sometimes appear with the television set. Some would use VCR loops. There was so many different things back in the day.
If I
Now,
may ask, is that similar to Staticom a little bit?
Staticom,
With the white noise being generated,
si-
I mean, it would be
kind of,
radio, I would imagine, with the TV, but you have just one channel you focus on. Anyway,
right.
it is different. You're right. It's quite different.
Yeah, they would flip the channel back in the day. And there was such a big controversy between the two. You had the EVP community and the ITC community. The communication, Just communication, one word, right? Communication means communication. And those two fields separated. It is.
I tried
It
it
is
back in the day.
very
When I was a kid,
addicting.
I was just like, I feel like there's something, but I was a kid. I don't know why.
But when you have a communication field separating from itself, there's a problem. When you have EVP on one side and ITC on the other, that's a problem. Sure, they're two different animals, but communication is communication. You have electronic voice phenomenon, cassette recorders, digital recorders, reel-to-reel recorders, magnetic tape, however you want to slice it. Then you have ITC, which is more instrumental, like television sets, radio sweeps, white noise. These kinds of things range in the ITC level. Pink noise, brown noise, all the different noises out there. Those two communities shouldn't be here. They should be here, because communication is communication. And I've just seen them separate. It's not that they're saying EVP is wrong. It's that they're saying this is the new way. So if those two communities collaborated, can you imagine what would happen? Something like Staticom would happen. That is going to be the next best thing. It really is. I think we are on the cusp of a breakthrough. We are right there as to where, not that people are going to believe us finally, but that we're going to screw up and get some answers. We're going to screw up and figure out that these spirits can speak on this specific frequency, this specific noise. Then we take that information, build upon it, make the next best thing, and our communication's secured. Now we can communicate with spirits. Okay, now how do we see them? How do we physically see them in front of us? How do we do this? How do we do that? And it's going to take a breakthrough like that to wake this community up. And people are going to realize it's not about followers. It's not about film. It's about communication. It's about knowing the unknown. It's out there. We can almost touch it. And people like the ones I mentioned are the ones that are going to take us to that next level. And I can't wait, because I've been waiting too long to finally see something work, to
There's
see
a
a team
frequency.
come together and
There's a
the
frequency that's
unity.
going to work.
Yeah. And that's
Correct.
why
There's a
it's going to
frequency
work.
that works for mediums. There's a frequency that they're finding, hopefully, that does work, whether it's within the electromagnetic light spectrum, where they can tune in at certain times, or within a static calm spectrum. It's very fascinating, and I do really hope that we get some really good bits in the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm. I hope so. And if I can't stress it enough, if you have an investigation team, try having a medium on that team. Try having a medium come in. Boy, is it going to reduce the stress. It really is, because you're not going to be talking into thin air. You're going to have someone that can sense that can help validate what you're trying to do. And you're not going to feel as hopeless. You're not going to feel as helpless. You're going to have some kind of guidance there. And I'm not saying mediums are tools like equipment. They're, in my opinion, essential to validate and get that message that we're trying to get out there. Because, like I said, you could see something in the corner. I look in that corner, I see a corner. You see someone standing there terrified to take a step forward and talking to the device because they don't know what it is. You sense that. You may hear that. And you can relay that information to someone like myself, and I could reapproach the question that I'm going to ask, or I could rephrase it completely just by your intuition and what you heard or what you saw, because you have your gifts. An EVP specialist is going to have their gifts, their skills. Everybody on that team is going to have their set of skills. And you put all those together, you have a solution to that problem, and it's about working together. I wish we would do it more. I mean, it's so simple to work together.
It's an invitation for people to really put themselves out here and in a capacity where there is more teamwork, there is more sharing, um, and just to be more brave and curious. So I do think people listening to the podcast that do have interest or watching the playback will kind of think about pushing themselves a little bit more. And there's a lot of really good information that you have in here to help them do that. We're coming to the end of the show, and I always want to make sure the guest has the last word.
Oh, oh
It's
my
like a
goodness.
lightning, like a lightning bolt, like a lightning bolt. There's so many points that needed to rain down, and it went so fast, didn't it?
This hour went by so fast, Kelly. This was crazy. If I
We're
had
almost at
one thing,
2 hours. Can you
wow.
believe it? It went by so quickly. That's how quickly it went.
Oh my goodness, we're almost at 2 hours.
I know, but it was so natural, and there's so much coming out, and there was so much you were sharing about the new technologies and what you've seen, and I do think it was really important. I really do. It was needed.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And if I had to say one thing, Kelly, and get that last word, it would be love one another. Do not judge one another. Go out there and do. Don't try, do. Go out there and do. Don't be afraid to go out there and do. Don't be afraid to go out there and mess up. If you do mess up, make sure you let somebody know so they don't make that same mistake. Just be you and have fun with this. It's a hobby to a lot of people. To me, it was full time for years. It's all I did. And it can be either one. Just be yourself and you're going to get more. You go out there with positive, you're going to get positive. You bring negative, that's what you're going to get. And don't judge people. Just be yourself. Share, share, share. It's very important. Very important. And be careful. Take care of yourself in this field. It can be very taxing. It can be very stressful. It drove me to drink. I had to take a few steps back myself because of that. You can get obsessed with this very easily, but don't worry about followers, folks. Worry about each other. Worry about each other in this field and just grab somebody next to you on your team and thank them for what they do. Let them know you appreciate them. Don't let them just come in and do this and do this and do this and hear nothing from you. Communicate. You have to. You've got to communicate. Yeah. I mean, I love this community. Absolutely love it. Love the people in it. Sure, there's some bad apples. There's bad apples everywhere. Take them out of the basket, replace it with a good apple. But don't let the good apples slip by. Don't judge them. Don't make fun of them. Help them, guide them. Make that your purpose.
I think, there's so much joy that you have within this work. That's why, you can't possibly contain it in one show, right? You can't possibly, and Todd's a living testament of that. So thank you so much, Todd, for being with us today. I know a lot of people were showing you love and appreciative of you being here as well. Thank you. With that said, everybody, I will see you on Friday for another Psychic Hour show. And we will be sprinkling in goodies along the way. Everybody, take care until then. Please go with love, light, and don't forget to live. See you on Friday. And thanks again, Todd. Much
Thank
love,
you, Kelly.
everybody.
Bye, all.
Thank you.